podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, Media Creators Co-op, in affiliation with the network at bicbb-radio.com.
Hello there, and welcome back to the 716th Attack Legion podcast. This will be our season finale, so congratulations to us for making it this far.
Congrats to us.
We're joined today by myself, Jack. I'm hosting today. Julian's here with us.
Hello.
We have Jordan as well. He's recovered from his mishaps. Christian's here today, and we have a guest star, my little brother Max. He's here to join us for our season finale. Oh, yeah, and Rich is here.
Dude. Fuck up already, man.
All right, I'll just go.
All right.
Bye.
That's why Jordan's out of the banter tank. Smoking his leg in that every day for this one.
Listen, if I didn't have bad luck, I would have no luck at all.
Yeah, well.
So today we have a couple topics to talk about, but first and foremost, we're going to talk about the new Ahsoka trailer that dropped a little while ago. We made Jordan watch it. We pried his eyes open and forced him to watch it. So I guess I'll give it to the group as to what do we think. What's our predictions now that we have a little bit more to work with?
Can I start?
Go for it.
Go for it. We forced you to watch it, so why not?
I don't know how I feel about it, only in the sense of I like the legend stuff, but there's a little bit more to. I like that they're adding depth and they're expanding into legends and stuff like that a little bit, and they're starting to add more things in. But I don't know how I feel about it, because the whole fact of Sabine calling Ahsoka master really bothers me.
I'm going to argue about this, actually.
Yeah,
I was also going to argue about this.
Look, I don't know how I feel about it, only because if Kanan was such... It kind of like, to me, it's like, if Kanan was such a good Jedi, and Ezra was so strong in the Force, and Ahsoka before, it's like you couldn't tell that she was Force sensitive.
But Luke's like the most powerful, and he didn't realize that Leia was Force sensitive.
That's what I'm saying. It as on the surface level, you would think that this kind of breaks canon. This doesn't make sense. But then you go think of original trilogy, which is the earliest of anything, and you're like, Luke is first off older than Ezra. Luke doesn't even know about the Force until Ezra's already flew away. You know what I mean? Ezra's already become a competent Jedi by the time, and Ezra's younger than Luke that entire period.
Yeah.
Leia doesn't learn she has the Force, and nobody has an inkling of it. Like I said, Luke doesn't have an inkling of it until what? I guess he knows once Ben spells it out for him. In 6.
And Ben doesn't even know. Only Yoda pretty much knows that Leia's Force sensitive.
I mean, Vader didn't know, and Vader was standing literally right in front of her in 4 and in 5, I guess, as well. So
I'm just saying, to me, it's but Ahsoka spent so much time with her. That's just kind of my thing. It's
I don't think Ahsoka has spent too much time, in Rebels with Sabine, weirdly enough. So that's why it's kind of weird that they've made this pairing, a thing.
I don't know. I just a little 50-50 on it. That's kind of where I'm going with it.
I think they made the pairing over Ezra. I think that's the point that they're going to go for. She's looking for him. She has his lightsaber. And that's the reason they're going to get together.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. But either way, I don't think it breaks. I don't even know if she's Force sensitive per se.
Yeah, that's a big
she
thing that we
could
don't
be
know.
Force sensitive. But I don't think her being Force sensitive breaks anything.
You're talking about Sabine.
Sabine,
Christian and I on our podcast, Next of Kin, we went through and broke it down. We didn't necessarily say we definitely agree. We're if you were looking for reasons why you would think Sabine, and we don't want to get in all of them,
a few.
but there's enough just simple things, two simple things that, first of all, this is the thing that bothers me. Like, first of all, not every Jedi is the same level of Jedi. Like, there are some Jedis that just have first of all, it's all about metachlorians, right? So her metachlorian levels could just be just enough to give her some abilities, not necessarily a ton. And clearly she has a bunch of other skills. So, and it's to me, it makes sense that she doesn't necessarily become aware of it. And there was two things that we kind of, I don't want to go through all of them. We definitely found some things that could definitely point you in the direction, and Filoni was pretty good at hiding it.
There's a weird Bendu interaction, like
that's the biggest
in
one.
the Trials of the Darksaber episode. The other one is when this is really close to the end of the season that I've never caught until I was rewatching trying to find stuff. You know when they get on the wolves, like in Rebels, to like go to the temple, and they like do because the wolves go through hyperspace or the world between worlds or something. I don't even know what, but like, and you hear there's this point where like you hear Kanan's voice you just see kind of like a hyperspace tunnel basically, and then like they get out of it, and then you hear Sabine says, "Did anyone else hear those voices?" And then Zeb says something that alludes to he has no idea what she's talking about.
I'm just trying to
she
figure out what the hell just happened.
Hey, did you hear those voices?
I have no idea what just happened.
So it's like so the only voice is Kanan's.
Yeah.
So,
Max, what do you think?
I'm excited for it. I really thought, like, I saw it as definitely like Ahsoka's, what's it called? Dang it, I just had it.
It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm excited for definitely Ezra. Like I'm really excited to see like his like storyline along with Ahsoka's.
Oh, cool.
I love the depiction of Thrawn. That was the one.
Thrawn looks
He
great.
looks
So good.
He looks
so.
He does look like Elon Musk, but he looks so good. Well, now that the government's confirmed aliens, just
They
saying.
have not confirmed aliens.
I don't want to get into that debate,
No,
but
I'm just saying.
no, I mean, like, I think it's honestly now seeing the trailer like in depth, and you know we've seen Thrawn, and you know also are we not going to talk about how the trailer is shot for shot the ending
Of Rebels?
Yeah, those shots are cool.
It's identical, so I wonder if they're not gonna pick it up at that, or at least show that, so that they're connected. You know, just to like really give it to us.
Impression that,
but
I'm under the impression that I think some of the show is going to take place before, like the Rebels, like prologue, whatever it's called, right? Prologue? Epilogue. That's right. The Rebels epilogue. I think like part of this show is going to take place before that, if that makes sense.
Probably.
Yeah,
And I think
okay.
that scene is being kind of reworked because I don't think like. I think Ahsoka will probably have like the robes that she has in that scene. Like
I want to see Ahsoka the White so bad.
But I think I think that scene is more of like a loose idea of what Filoni would want to do with like that going forward. More than like this being like this a canon thing. But I think by the end of the series though, Ahsoka has those robes.
Probably.
But that scene gets reworked a little bit to when she's picking Sabine up.
I had a little fan moment when I was watching the trailer. There was the little tiny new astromech droid that I think hangs out with Sabine a little bit. It's literally the original R2D2 like toy.
Yeah.
And
like
I thought that was hilarious.
And it's like, yeah, it's definitely.
It's got like the little triangle nose.
Yeah. Is that in the E-wing?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it is.
Yeah, you know what I thought? One thing that I really liked was the visuals. Like, I liked the fact when we saw the painting, that the painting looks just like the painting in Rebels.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
They just
like
took the
the
art
style, the art style, they didn't change. They obviously have to change the look because it's not an animated show. But I love the fact that they just let's just not change the
they
painting.
made it
Like
Sabine's
let's
art
literally
style.
like copy and paste
they
it
made
and
it
make it
her
into
art
like
style.
her art style is the painting. So I love the fact that there's just so many smart things about that. I do feel like that whatever we saw in that trailer is going to be nothing more than the first or second episode, and that's it.
That's usually what they do.
Like,
You really have no idea.
I don't
But
think it.
two-episode premiere.
Yeah, it's a 2-episode premiere, and I think anything that we've seen will be from those 2 episodes, and that's it.
yeah, I'm very, very, very excited to like, and like this might just be like a fan thing, but I really want them to do like I want Sabine to like paint a spaceship. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just to give us like something stupid like that.
Like how she painted the TIE fighter.
The TIE fighter. And they're like, they're never gonna guess that this is Rebels. It's just a bright pink TIE fighter.
Remember that TIE fighter that we said we blew up?
Yeah, no,
we
I
didn't
painted
really blow it up.
The tie we stole a while back, we didn't exactly crash it.
And by didn't exactly, you mean?
We didn't crash it. We kept it hidden.
You all knew about this?
All right.
So are we good with Ahsoka?
I think I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Just like R.I.P. to Ray Stevenson. He looks
Yeah.
really cool.
How is everybody excited for it now? Like,
Yes.
you're not worried about
Yeah,
it?
man. It
Oh,
looks,
no,
it
I
looks
think it's
like
gonna
just
be Jordan-
Rebels Season 5.
Jordan's skeptical, but Jordan fucking hates everything Star Wars nowadays.
Oh, I'm
so-
skeptical too. I don't trust Lucasfilm like at all.
Me,
but
Max,
I
and
trust
Julian can
Filoni
sit
a
over
little
here.
bit. Like
Yeah.
I have faith in
We have our
Filoni.
little
I have
Filoni
faith
has
in
had a few missteps here and
Jordan,
there, but he's
you
mostly
seem like
good.
you really want to say something.
I have reservations.
I knew he was gonna say that word.
Because I don't know. I'm been so disappointed with the products that Disney as a whole has been pushing out that I am concerned about the overreach into something that I care genuinely about.
Okay, I can get behind that opinion.
So
get that.
I have reservations about what's going to happen. But I will say visually it looks stunning.
Yeah, this is an upgrade on Mando.
100%.
By a lot.
And I look forward to seeing Rosario Dawson really embrace the role outside of 2 episodes for full ridiculous amounts of time. And she was badass in the Daredevil show. So just seeing her and in DMZ on HBO, I think she's
a
great.
killer actor.
She's amazing.
I think she's great. I think she's going to bring add depth to the role. But we'll see.
And honestly, the Ezra and Sabine castings are
they're
about
perfect.
So, so as long as they're like good enough actors to pull it off.
And
like,
I know
then
that
we're
there's
gonna
some
be fine.
back and forth on Hera, but I think she looks great.
Oh,
too.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead's gonna kill
She
that
is.
She's gonna be
role.
fine. There's something to be said about some of the decisions they made for the design, maybe, but
I think she looks fine.
she looks overall fine. It's
For-
not that
I know,
horrific.
but for bringing something like
It's
that
no
into
Grand
live action, I
Inquisitor.
mean, this you could say the
Like-
same
Yeah.
thing about Ahsoka, but like
I
I
always-
mean, you're bringing a character like that into live action. I mean, you kind of have to like make
Well,
compromises.
remember
They-
Zeb?
they-
Like, look how good Zeb looked when he was
odds
on.
we
I mean,
could
that
see
looked
this
really good.
season.
I mean,
I
want Zeb so
I think
bad.
you'll get like a cameo just because I feel like it's going to be so expensive.
So you think Disney's worried about spending money?
To be fair,
Yeah.
I want
No,
Zeb to
they
be
just
like,
don't spend money where they should. They just
I
Yeah,
just
no,
love that
they're
they
not
finally
worried about spending
embraced,
money
like,
on
oh,
that
we have
stuff.
CGI characters. Like that's a very prequels-esque thing to have. Like, just then they fully embraced it when they had that Zeb cameo.
Zeb
So if they don't
looked
use that
amazing.
model, I'm gonna be very like.
I doubt they
I'm gonna be-
would not
yeah.
let them not use that model.
I don't know if it's like they're obviously either hiding him in the later half of the season, or I think they changed this from being like a limited series to like a thing with multiple seasons potentially.
You know what
So-
would be an insane thing to see, and I doubt that this will happen, but it would just be awesome to see, like, because I would assume they're gonna do flashes of everybody together at some point. I genuinely wonder if they would bring Freddie Prinze Jr.
I was just thinking that same thing.
as live action Kanan.
Yeah,
That would
just
be really
even if
cool.
it's just a flashback,
Just a shot or two. I
Just
wonder
give me
if they
one,
would do
'cause
something like
they
that.
love to do that with the live action.
Unfortunately,
like the voice
he's
actor.
been rather opinionated as of late, and they're not always the most positive opinions. So
Well, he's just voicing
Yeah.
truth.
He's
But again,
voicing what everybody
a
else
paycheck is a
feeling.
paycheck, though.
I think there's a good chance.
I think there's
that
a
he
good
could.
chance.
Maybe,
they
yeah.
could
Well,
do
I
it.
think he's gonna be around like for
Filoni.
12
Yeah.
episodes,
No.
but he might just have
No,
an
he
appearance in a
they
flashback.
might do like maybe Hera is like having a nightmare about that or something like that, and then you're gonna like see
or other
him.
moments from Rebels that are key that
Yeah,
tie
maybe a
in
flashback
that
or
they
something.
reshot at kind of like we saw in the trailer.
Or
That, and again, I pray
he'll be in the
so
show.
hard.
He'll be
that
in the
he's-
show.
no, but not as Darth Vader.
No, he'll be as Anakin.
Do we get the force-resistant lizards?
And
for
there
legends.
is a young.
Are they
didn't
coming?
cast a
Calamari?
young
Yeah,
Ahsoka?
yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Isn't that
They
the thing
cast
Thrawn
a
had?
young Ahsoka, so there's gotta
Oh, yeah.
be an Anakin and Ahsoka moment.
Oh, that is right. There is a young Ahsoka.
There is a young
House of the
Ahsoka.
Dragon,
So
yeah.
if Hayden Christensen is just, oh my god, I will cry. I will literally cry. That will be the only motivation for me to
I
like.
think there's a
be
chance we
happy
get 3 Hayden Christensen roles. I think we get potentially. I think we guarantee get him in the Vader suit for one scene. I think we guarantee get him as a Force Ghost, and I think there's a decent chance we get Clone Wars flashback.
I really think
Like,
we're gonna get Clone Wars flashback.
we might get 3 different versions
with the
like,
younger actress that's
Or
playing her.
I feel like we might get 4, which is the hologram that from the holocron that
the training
The
video.
Jax-
the training video,
the
yeah.
training video, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because he
Because he
Yeah,
did
he
it
has
in
that,
Rebels.
yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot
but
about that.
but to
Surprise! It's
to
Matt
our-
Latner's playing Anakin Skywalker.
That'd be great.
that would be great. But not I don't want to sit there and talk about Ahsoka the whole time because I feel like we could
Yeah.
just really go with the whole skepticism thing.
Yeah, we're just having our conversation.
Finish what we're gonna say.
yeah.
We'll move on
Yeah.
to the actual topic of today's
Yeah.
episode.
I think everyone's has a right to feel skeptical going into anything Star Wars being made under the current regime, no matter how confident you.
But she's
Yeah.
gonna be out of here soon.
You would think, but again, she's very
Then again, with
powerful.
all the
she has a lot of
strikes
connections
and
within the
everything.
industry.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the 716th Attack Legion podcast stands with the WGA and SAG strikes.
100%.
Yes, we do.
Stand strong
Yep.
and fight for what you need.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we stand with you. We trust what you guys work for, and it's tough work. Keep going. Sorry, had to say that.
No,
all my
No,
feelings.
100% agree. 100%.
All right. Moving on. I think that Rich would like to introduce our topics, and then I'll take over the questionings.
Okay, so I have this weird concept thinking about, and I'm gonna. The premise is this: that 1999, the first thing that anybody ever sees from Star Wars is Episode 1. They're not made out of order like they've been made. So the prequels come out. They're not different at all. They're exactly as they were made by Lucas and company. And then we still get Clone Wars and everything else that came out. And then somewhere around when Force Awakens came out, Lucas, not Disney, he never sells it. He decides.
It's not big enough to sell
He's
it.
not big enough because that can be part of
just
our
the prequel.
discussion. So he's like, you know what? I think I'm going to make 4, 5, and 6 now. I'm going to let everybody see what happened to the twins and what happens to Vader and what happened to Obi-Wan and all that. And that's my discussion. So in my mind, I don't even want to bring up the sequels because that wouldn't even be made yet. Because in our timeline, my alternative timeline here, it's like Star Trek. The 4, 5, and 6 have just got made. So you can. I mean, some of the TV stuff is probably still wouldn't have been made yet. Maybe Andor could, but obviously Boba Fett couldn't be made. My thing is, what do you think? What would be great about those movies? What would be bad about them? Would we lose like kind of the charm and everything? Like, what would the casting be like and stuff like that? That's kind of my thing.
All right,
Okay.
Zach, first question.
So our first question would be, who would be casted as the core characters? Okay. And I will go one at a time here. Julian, who would you think would be cast as Luke Skywalker in a 2017 episode 4?
Are we doing like Luke all around?
Yeah, we'll do each person once around.
It's tough, and I know that a lot of people are going to be Sebastian Stan, but that's really because he looks like Mark Hamill.
I don't even think he does.
Yeah, exactly, in a very like brief sense. But if you're going like actability, somebody who I genuinely think could, and he's got to be young too. I would probably go. You know who I would go for? I can't. God, I don't know his. What is the guy's name?
What's
he was
he
in. He was in. The Giver. He also plays Robin or Nightwing in the Justice League or in the Titans show.
Oh yeah, he's a good.
God, I can't think of his name.
Oh, I'll grab it.
Like Dick Grayson.
Brenton Thwaites.
Yeah.
I think he'd be pretty good. I think he could be a decent Luke Skywalker. Yeah, I mean, he's like the only actor now that I could genuinely see doing a role like that, and like being able to like live up to the like sort of whininess and naivety of Luke.
Okay.
You know, and also again, he's got to be young enough. Him or you know the other obvious one to go to is like a Tom Holland. You know, or something like that. But I think, you know, well, also, I mean, Tom Holland has had some pretty badass roles outside of Spider-Man.
He has.
Like Cherry was a phenomenal movie. He was really good in that. You know, so
Crowded Room's coming out too.
Crowded Room is coming out. Yeah, I mean, he could do really well, but I really think Brenton Thwaites would do really well.
Okay.
And for those who don't know what he looks like this. And then Jack will edit that part in.
Mags, who do you think would make a good Luke Skywalker?
Obviously, as Julian said, everyone would probably say Sebastian Stan. He does look like him, and he is pretty young. I feel like he definitely gives that off that like vibe of like Luke. But also Tom Holland has played in action movies and definitely can fit the role of Luke. But I was thinking Rami Malek.
Oh,
Rami
yeah.
Malek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I feel like he would be able to. He definitely is more like on the serious side. Like I feel like, but like also that's what kind of like Luke is. You know, like especially in 4 and 5. Like he definitely like throughout the whole trilogy, he's trying to connect with Darth Vader, his father. So I definitely feel like he could definitely like bridge that like seriousness and like bridge that like gap. So.
Okay. Christian?
Well, I think we started in the wrong spot, if I'm being honest. Because if we can't cast anyone, because first off, these trilogies would not have the tone of the original trilogies, because it wouldn't be in the 80s. It wouldn't be. It would be in the like mid 2010s. Would be when this would be coming out.
2017-ish.
And if anything, this would be the original trilogy with prequels tone.
Well,
with
that's a
prequel
later
stylization.
We have a later question that
no, but I think that
depicts-
changes literally the way that characters are going to be like behaving
then
and like acting within the story. And I think a lot of the camp is gone. So I don't know if like the camp of Luke Skywalker necessarily remains. And if anything, you might get a more like it's the 2010s and everything got over dramatized because of the Dark Knight.
So who
and, like,
do you think would be an
Inception.
over dramatized Luke Skywalker?
I don't even know. Like they probably like cast Timothy Chalamet like for it. They'd probably try to do that.
I'm looking at a fan casting website right now. Timothy Chalamet is currently ranked number 2.
And they cast him as Atreides, and Luke's just a rip off of
Tom
Paul Atreides
Holland's
anyway.
number 1.
So,
No, number 1 is Joe Keery from Stranger Things.
Really?
Who plays Steve.
I can
Which
see
honestly
that, yeah. I
is
can
not
see
a
that.
Not a
bad
bad
idea,
Luke's
but I
coming
think
in.
Timothy Chalamet would do better.
and they already cast him as Paul Atreides, and Luke Skywalker basically is like half
He
of that
basically
character
It's
is.
the
anyway.
same movie.
So why not?
You
Jordan, a
skipped
couple other
me.
weird
I'm
ones
just
on
gonna
there,
say
like-
you skipped me.
Evan
Well, I was
Peters,
gonna say
Cole-
We're
just
going
for
around.
us.
We're going around. Okay.
Yeah.
So, for Luke, I had Tom Holland, but like as you guys are talking about it, and I'm just like, I'm kind of thinking about it. I don't like Christian said. I don't think it's the same thing. So I'm really, I don't know.
Do we want to skip this and go back
No,
to this
so
question?
I had a guy, and I can't remember. I'm trying to find what he's in, so I can make reference to him.
I mean, we can come back to you if you want to do more research.
Well, I was thinking Cole and Dylan Sprouse, one of the two of them.
Gosh.
I saw
But no,
it.
but hear me,
you.
hear me on this, because when you look at it,
Well,
at least with
could do well.
Dylan hasn't been in filmography. That's I just sound like an idiot. Dylan hasn't been in cinema since he left Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
I mean, he's done a couple things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
He's
not
been
not
in a
he's not
couple
as
movies,
prominent.
but not nearly as much
He's not
as
as prominent.
Cole Sprouse.
But he's kind of drifted to the back now, where he's young enough where he could fill that role for longevity's sake. But he's also old enough where he could pass as a teenager and not a little kid.
Was this not him in 2015? Is that where-
Well, it's
Are we basing
2017.
this off of, like, 2015?
Yeah, like, are we casting like Timothy Chalamet like from 2017?
Yeah, we have.
Is
I'm
that
talking.
what we're
Well,
doing?
they're 30 years old.
Okay, so they
Let's
would be like
just
that's what I'm
talk
saying. That would
about-
work.
Let's,
Actually.
I think we're like
that's all I'm
worried
trying to
about
say.
what year. Let's not worry about the year. Let's just talk about if the movies were made today in recent light.
Yeah.
You know-
Anywhere from when basically when Force Awakens was made, somewhere around when Force Awakens was made, plus or
2017,
minus a couple years.
But what I'm saying is, if we look at it then, he's young enough where they could pull it. They're about 30 now, so even now they look
still
young
pull it
enough.
off.
Yeah.
They could pull it off. They could pull off Luke. But I
Luke
think
was old playing a young guy.
I think the big thing is casting no names like Lucas did originally. I think he would cast no names. We're going too big of names here, so you have to find
Yeah, but
the unknowns to make them.
yeah, but nowadays though, you're talking like they did the okay, but you think about the way that they did episode 1, which was like they didn't cast no names in episode.
Yeah, there's less no
Like
names
Ewan McGregor
present.
was a name, and
Was
Liam
he?
Neeson is
Liam
a name.
Neeson
Samuel
100%
Jackson.
and McDermott's a name, like, you know. So Natalie Portman was a name at that point. Well, kind of.
Well,
so,
Portman is because Portman has his first role is in what's it called? Dad, what's that one movie?
Which one?
The one where Natalie Portman's like the kid in. And there's like
Oh,
the
the
spy.
professional.
The
Oh.
Yeah,
professional.
and then there's a,
and,
you know,
and she's
then
way
you've
younger
got-
in that. Than
The only
she
real
is
like
in-
no name in that movie was like Ray Park and Jake Lloyd.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, doing it in today's society, nobody casts no names.
So the
anymore.
person
like, it just
that I-
doesn't happen.
I think could do it like under that no name, and I say no name loosely here. He's just not a big actor. Is Mile Heiser?
Okay.
He was in 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, the kid. He plays.
Here's what he looks like.
He just looks like Luke.
He looks like.
He does
look
hair.
like
He
Luke.
has his haircut.
I don't think he. I've seen a couple things that he's been in. I just don't think acting wise he would be right.
Well, if I'm gonna quote one of my friends here, that I disagree, but on the originals, only bringing this in, the depth isn't there for these roles. It's a space opera written so a third grader can understand it. So, quoting one of my friends, only in the
Saying
sense
that
of
there's no depth to those characters blows my mind.
Yeah.
only in sense of when 4 came out, Luke was a whiny kid.
So
You give the kid an opportunity to develop.
but there's a lot of depth there. But saying that there's no depth for the character, like his whole motivation for getting involved in anything is because his aunt and uncle died, Obi-Wan dies,
They're brutally burned
and
to death.
and like there's motivation and depth to that character. Yeah, Luke's whiny, but I mean, like, look at every other farm boyish character in all of these movies. They're all whiny. You
My
know what
point
I mean?
is, just give the kid an opportunity to develop. That's where.
No,
I'm
I
going with.
agree with
Because
you. I
if
just
you
think
look at
from what I've seen from him, I
if you look at
don't
Mark
agree.
Hamill,
That's the
given
part
given the opportunity that Mark Hamill had with the role, he started with that ability, and then he turned into.
that's true.
To be fair, Mark Hamill isn't not the greatest like screen actor, like by any means. Like
No, Mark
And
Hamill
that's
is
not
definitely
really
not
what's,
the greatest
and that's
actor in
not
the
really
world.
what the charm of like Luke is like it's kind of like the innocence of the performance and just
I
like
think-
the real
I think-
like he's
Yeah,
just
I mean, I
pour-
guess,
he's
yeah.
pouring himself into it. He's not exactly like the greatest actor in the world.
I
Because
just
even
think
like the
Miles
Luke I am
Teller-
your
All
father.
right. I
scene
think
isn't, like-
we're. Rich still has to give his
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh, yeah,
on
you can
who
go,
he'd
yeah.
like.
You didn't go yet?
I'll go when I introduce the
Okay,
next question.
so let me. I gotta keep because I gotta keep coming up and start with the mics here. So in my mind, I'm kind of with Jordan that I think it would be a fair amount of unknowns. I'm not saying that you couldn't find work that they did, but they probably wouldn't be actors and actresses that we're thinking of. If I had to pick somebody, the guy that was the brother on Stranger Things that gets killed. Billy, I think he would be
Baker
a great.
Montgomery?
Yeah.
He'd be a great Han Solo. I think he'd be a cool Han Solo. If you got to go a little bit older, one of the two guys. What's the show with the guys that are always? It was a Fox show.
Oh, Supernatural.
Supernatural. The shorter guy from Supernatural could be. I think would
Jensen
be.
Ackles?
Yeah, like I think he'd be good in Han
could be Han
as Han
Solo, yeah.
Solo.
I could see that.
Luke and Leia, I'd have to look into it more. But the thing that I want to throw in with the casting, I'm more excited to be like. Lando would still end up being some type of celebrity, like they did with
Billy Dee
with Billy Dee Williams. We'd get some older actor to be Palpatine and Grand Moff Tarkin. But here's the thing that I want to bring up.
You don't think that Ian McDiarmid would reprise his role, quote unquote, since he was?
Oh, true. He'd still be around. I'm sorry, you're right. I got that wrong. But the two that would be interesting would be is that it obviously would just be Ewan McGregor as Ben
and
Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader, which tells me the voice is not James Earl Jones.
That's weird. Yeah.
He's still alive,
That would
though.
never. No, but that never would happen.
I agree.
That's not going to
He's
happen.
too
And here's
old.
the why. He's too old. And here's the other thing. Got to remember, the only reason James Earl got the Joan is because when David Prowse was in the costume,
Earl's got the
he
Jones.
sounded stupid.
Yeah.
He's like, hello, Ted Wellers, the weird English accent or whatever it was, and it sounded like a
Yeah, there's
muffled
clips of
in
it, it doesn't work.
So it just that was a fix. His original vision was just going to be the voice.
Yeah.
So it would just be Hayden Christensen's voice is like a Hayden Christensen saying, "Luke, I am your father." Like that's effing cool.
that
Like
or
that's
pilots
effing
can,
cool.
but-
Yeah, I think that it would either be that or they would get someone else to do it. And
But it wouldn't be James Earl
No,
Jones.
you know
it
who it would
wouldn't.
be? You know who it would be?
Morgan Freeman.
But even he's getting old. So we're losing some camera issues here. So let me fix it.
I definitely think it would be Morgan Freeman, 100%.
I think it would actually be Idris Elba.
Oh, that's a
I
good
was gonna
choice.
say Idris Elba
Idris
for
Elba is a
Vader.
great choice for that.
I think
British
I really
accent.
put like if it couldn't be James Earl Jones, who would you want? Now you got a few people that you could be, but I think Idris has got that voice for
I was
it.
gonna suggest it. He has that like manner to him that like.
Yeah.
The Rock.
Get out.
He's gonna.
That's Chewbacca. How dare
the
you?
hierarchy is
I was
about
gonna
to
ask,
change.
Well, that he's coming up.
So who would you
You
say
say
for
who
Luke then?
Chewbacca
Just
is.
more.
I'm going to stick with you in the sense that I kind of feel like it's if I had to cast, I'd have to go look it up. But I honestly do believe that it wouldn't be anybody we know, and he would be if Luke's supposed to be like 17 when Episode 4 comes out. The actor's going to be 17,
Yeah, he's
and Leia. They're both going to be 17-year-olds. Han will be a little bit older. Obviously, they would have taught. It wouldn't be Peter Mayhew because he's already gone. So it'd probably have been a different actor. They would have had a recast. It
random
almost
no-name
it
7
would
foot tall
theoretically
actor,
could have
yeah.
been the same tall actor that we got now because Peter Mayhew, you would have maybe still would have been the original Chewbacca because he was a tall actor that everybody knew. It could be that guy that always plays the tall guy in Doctor Who episodes because half of them would be English because English actors get all the good parts now.
Okay, so my fan cast for Luke Skywalker was David Cross.
Who's that?
That's familiar.
I'll,
but I can't put a face to it.
I'll give a.
Oh, it's.
Is that his prom picture?
Who's that?
I
So
feel like I've
he's-
seen him.
what was he
He's from the most notable thing is The Reader and Warhorse.
Never seen.
I've seen Warhorse,
They're-
and that was a good film. I think he did great in that. I could see him in that role.
So that was my he's a good actor but not as known. So I think that he would fill the role of the lesser known actor but still like bring a good representation to the character.
You know who just crossed my mind is that kid from Game of Thrones. He's the one who jumps out the window.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh, he was in 1917.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kid. Yeah, that worked. He has the innocence to him. Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
pretty good. He played.
That's a good shout.
What is his? Oh God, what is his name?
Not Joffrey.
I'll Google it.
Not Joffrey.
Tommen.
Tommen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommen and Baratheon.
He'd be good.
Incest
He'd be
babies.
real good, I think.
So moving on to the sister.
We should go through the.
His name is Dean Charles
Okay.
Chapman.
Oh,
We should go
Dean
through it
Charles. Yeah, that's
quickly.
it.
We should just do like all the characters.
Okay, so then Julian, who would you cast as the rest of the?
Well, I think they would. I have 3 choices for Han Solo,
Okay.
Same.
which are Jensen Ackles, Sam Claflin,
Okay.
and Miles Teller.
Oh, okay.
100%, I really think they would go for somebody like Miles Teller, I think Miles Teller would be great
I have a question.
as a Han Solo.
Didn't we already establish that these other movies came out? Rogue One already came out. Clone Wars was out.
Just
Just Clone Wars and Rebels and the
Rogue One.
prequels.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
Rogue One.
Only the prequels.
So we're just discounting Solo as a whole.
Yes.
Yeah, no, Solo hasn't happened.
So what about the CGI Leia at the end of Rogue One?
Yeah.
No,
It
let's,
That
I don't even
stays.
think
No,
Rogue
we don't
One
get to
should
take
be a
scenes
thing.
out.
Okay,
That
we
has to
shouldn't count
exist.
Rogue
They
One.
made up.
like ignoring Rogue One.
Cut out
let's
that
talk
5
just,
seconds.
Just prequels and Clone Wars and
Yeah, they made
Rebels.
CGI Tarkin for no reason. It was, oh my God, CGI Tarkin has to continue on.
Oh my god.
Into the sequel, into the
forget
original
Rogue
trilogy.
No,
One.
because you
They're-
recast
They
those
have
two.
one PS2 character walking around amongst the rest of them.
No,
Let's
stop
just
it.
ignore that Rogue One ever happened.
Okay.
Because
No,
they
no,
have
it's
like
there.
Carrie Fisher in it. And,
Let's
like, you
let's
can't do that.
go through your list. So you
But
got
yeah, so I think Jensen Ackles, Sam Claflin, or Miles Teller. I think would be great.
okay. So who do you have as Lando?
Oh, Lando. I mean, I would have went with Donald Glover.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was
Donald Glover.
great. I think he's got the charisma. I mean, he's got. The
I feel like
character
stuff
pretty
like that's
much
just gonna stay.
nailed
Like,
down.
you
Yeah,
know,
I don't
like-
see why they wouldn't go with somebody like him.
Mm-hmm.
But for Princess Leia, I feel like they would go a little bit. Because you're thinking about the way they do things nowadays. Like casting unknowns is very rare.
Yes.
And I think if they are going to cast anybody as an unknown in the film, it's going to be Luke. It's not going to be Leia. So they would probably go for a little bit more of a name and go for. There's two actresses I'm thinking. One is obvious. I think the very obvious Haley Steinfeld.
Okay.
And I mean, I think they would go for somebody like her. I mean, she's gorgeous.
Josh
She's a
Allen would not be happy.
Phenomenal actor. I mean, like, let's be real. She's gorgeous. She's a phenomenal actor.
She is.
And either that or I forget her name. Or they would have gone for like someone like Jenna Ortega or something.
Yeah, I want
But
shorter.
there's another McKenna Grace.
I like shorter. For
Ooh.
Leia.
Who
You guys are
she
gonna be
was
surprised.
McKenna Grace has been in a lot of stuff and she's really fucking good. She was in Gifted. She was in Haunting of Hill House. She played the younger version of the middle sister. She's been in like so much. She was in the Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
She's phenomenal. She's a great actress and she's about I think 17 or 18 like now.
She's 17.
She's 17 now. So they
I googled her because I didn't know what she looked like.
Or they could even I could see them going with someone like Natalia Dwyer from Stranger Things, like she's phenomenal too. So like there's a lot of people you could go for, but if I had to pick one, they probably would go for someone like Haley Steinfeld or Jenna Ortega.
Okay.
Just because Jenna Ortega's in everything, not that she doesn't deserve it, because she's a fucking phenomenal actor. But like they would probably go for somebody like that to keep the Luke as the unknown character.
Who would you do as Chewbacca?
Bro,
I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. You're
Tall
never gonna see
guy.
his face. It'd probably just be Eunice Suotama or like a tall actor.
It'd be that same guy, like, because that's
Yeah.
why that guy got the job, or
Yeah. Frank Oz would still be voicing Yoda.
Yeah.
And,
He's doing a visual performance, like with movement and stuff.
Yeah.
Max.
So, for Princess Leia, I'd have Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Okay.
And then
Hera.
Yep.
Yeah. And then for Han Solo, I'd either do Jeremy Renner
Okay.
or Liam Neeson.
Ooh. Well, you got to remember that
can't
Liam
be
Neeson
Liam
is
Neeson.
Qui-Gon Jinn already.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They also have to fit the ages of the characters.
That is true. Yeah.
I think Liam Neeson's like way too old. I mean, I guess it's
I mean,
fitting.
he was
but,
32.
he's an old man. Liam Neeson's in his 60s or 70s now.
It was like 10 years ago. He's fine.
What?
Christian.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead would be really good.
I'm cool with Jensen Ackles as like a Han Solo. I think that like makes sense. I can't think of anyone. Yeah, Alden Ehrenreich. Why not?
He
fits the
did a
role.
good job.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Oscar Isaac.
Millie Alcott could be.
Oh my God! I don't even know why I didn't even think of her.
Millie
She's
Alcott
so
would be really
good.
She's like short. Like
She
for
killed
Leia.
it in
Leia
House of
needs to be
Dragons.
short.
Oh, and Matt Damon. Not Matt Damon.
Uh,
What's his name?
Matt
Smith.
Matt Damon. Yeah, I think I like Millie Alcott for Leia. I think that would.
Yeah,
work really
she's
well.
good.
She would be great.
I think she has like the right. I've only seen her in House of the Dragon, but I think like even that little
that's the only thing I've
5-episode
seen her in.
run,
She's
that
phenomenal.
little 5-episode. I think even the energy she has in that 5-episode run would match to
it is
Leia
kind
like
of
very
Princess
well.
Leia-esque, yeah.
So Chewbacca can be anyone who's 7 feet
Yeah.
tall. Lando can be like. How popular was Billy D. Williams in like the 80s? Like what was like the significance of like how popular?
He was probably like one of the more mainstream for that type of role. He was kind of a movie star because he was in Mahogany and he was in a couple other things.
He might be too big, but I think like Jamie Foxx.
It would be
Okay.
like
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He might bite, but he might be too old.
He might be a
I
little
don't
bit too
think
old,
we should.
but
I don't think we
Billy
should worry
Williams was
about
kind
how
of older.
popular people are. I think it's just about if
But
the movies were
but
made
I
today,
definitely
we wanna
think
see
they were
them
looking
cast.
to bring in a popular black actor when they did Empire because they were trying to expand their audience.
Yeah.
And that's why part of me wonders why theoretically there's nothing could have said that Han Solo couldn't have been a black actor.
Yeah.
That's true.
They might have just decided like we can't just have 2 more white guys. We got to let's have a diverse cast. So
Yeah,
Han Solo could have ended up being a black actor.
In that case, I would cast Jaden Smith as Luke Skywalker. But just my opinion.
Anthony Mackie. Is
Max,
Lando.
you
Yeah, I
brought
was
up
gonna
Lando.
say, yeah, Anthony Mackie for Lando because I feel like he definitely fits the mannerisms of Lando.
You don't agree with me?
Oh yeah,
I'll
let's
just
see
keep.
what's
No,
written
you
down.
guys can finish your lists. I'm gonna read through mine after.
I think I'm done with my list.
Did I miss any?
Yeah.
I don't think
No.
so.
I think I got it.
All right. So first of all, Get Out. He is a terrible actor.
Oh my god. Oh my
Have you
god.
ever seen The Karate Kid? Like, what's wrong with you?
Get
I'm
out.
Sorry, Jaden Smith is so.
Have you ever seen After Earth? Get Out.
No,
Okay, but
I'm
that
actually kind of
movie
with. I don't
was
want
just so
Jaden
bad.
Smith to be
All right.
in anything.
Anyways.
I don't want.
Anyways.
So good.
No.
So for Grand Moff Tarkin, I have Sir Patrick Stewart.
Okay.
CGI.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay. I think Sir Patrick Stewart could be a great Grand Moff Tarkin. Like he's just got that eminence about him.
Today I saw a balloon.
Get out.
He's the right age. Yeah.
For Princess Leia, I have Sydney Sweeney.
Okay.
Because part of the thing, especially by the time that we get to return, is Leia's sex appeal.
Oh my
I'm not joking. No, listen. You have
I don't.
No,
I don't
no,
think that has anything
no,
to do-
it does
not
not have
necessarily.
anything to do with
No.
Princess Leia.
Look,
No, continue.
That had to do with
Continue,
George
continue.
Lucas being horny while writing the sixth movie. Let's be
No
real.
wonder we're in space.
Like,
Continue.
Continue your list.
so well, plus she actually is a good actress if you watch Euphoria.
She's really good.
No, she is
So
If anybody's
and
ever seen The Voyeurs, she's phenomenal in that.
and she's being cast as Spider-Woman.
Is she
Yes.
in that Madam
No.
Web bullshit?
No, I have friends that worked on Madam Web. She is
She's-
not Spider-Woman. That's not the character she plays.
She's just
Whatever.
a random ass character. Isn't she
She's in that. She's in the Marvel movies now.
It's Sony ones. They don't count.
Sony. Yeah, it doesn't count.
So
But anyway.
But I think she could do well, especially if you're
She'd be
looking at the
great. I mean,
unknown,
she's
because then
really
you could bring her
talented, yeah.
in to kind of bring balance to an unknown of Luke, where she hasn't been in major film
Yeah,
in
she's
movies, but
popular,
she's been
but
on
not, like,
HBO.
super popular.
Right, she's that I can bring the gravity in. And then Solo, you keep Solo, you keep Aiden. Kenobi is Ewan, and Hayden Christensen with Idris Elba's voice for Vader. Paul White, The Big Show, is Chewbacca.
Okay.
He doesn't speak. He's a big guy, but he's big. He's like he's got the.
he
can
has
do,
to make
you
the
could do
roar
more
noises.
physical stuff with Chewbacca. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean.
All right, move on.
Said
Let's
Dan.
move on.
sorry.
Okay.
And then Lando, I have John Boyega.
Okay.
Okay, well, yeah.
I mean, if you're not gonna do Donald Glover,
Give him a good Star Wars role.
Yeah,
like,
give him a good Star Wars.
if you're not gonna do Donald Glover, you go with John Boyega because he's very popular in the British
You could
cinema.
honestly probably take the sequels cast
And just give them those parts.
and just give them those parts. John
Actually
Boyega
go out
as
written
Luke,
roles,
Oscar
yeah,
Isaac as
yeah.
Han Solo, and Daisy Ridley as Princess Leia. You could very easily do that, and
Yeah,
they're
they
all
could've.
great actors. And
Yeah.
they would kill it.
Yeah.
So honestly, that's not a bad idea either. Anyway, let's move on to the next.
Well,
question.
so
Your
last but not
list.
least, my list.
Oh, that's right.
For my
list.
Princess Leia, I had Ali Ganino.
Who the hell is that?
So she was in The Lion Game and The Red Road.
I have no idea what either of those are.
So this is
You can add pictures.
this is what this is my Princess
Oh,
Leia.
I recognize this person. I don't know
JoJo.
from what, but-
JoJo's my Princess Leia.
For Han Solo, I had Taron Egerton.
Oh, that's good. That's real good.
That's a good one. I like that.
That's a
one lot.
good.
Maybe a little too
That's
short.
I like that one
he
a
would
lot.
kill it in that role. They also thought he was going to be Wolverine for a while.
They did.
And
He
then
still might be.
Hugh Jackman was like, "Excuse me."
I mean, no, he still might be in the. We'll see going forward.
Yeah.
Like, in terms, because they're gonna have to recast still. Like Hugh Jackman won't be one and done.
I think
First
so.
off, Hugh Jackman lives forever.
He
True.
is literally Wolverine. He has
Also,
healing.
stop.
okay, so-
Also, if anyone's seen the Hugh Jackman Wolverine League, stop bitching about his arms. The dude has skin cancer
Yeah.
issues. Let him have some long arms.
Let him have some
let
long
him have
sleeves.
Some long sleeves.
Oh, I
okay.
thought his suit looked
I thought it
No,
looked
it looks
amazing.
great. Like I don't care that it doesn't have like that it has the sleeves or whatever. Who cares? It looks great.
And also, you know how hard it is because he's relatively close to my age. You know how hard it is to build muscle mass without taking things you should not take, which I'm sure he wouldn't do. So, like, who cares if the costume's got sleeves? F off. You just
Probably gonna rip
if
them
that's
off.
what you're gonna be mad about that they brought Wolverine back, then F off and don't go watch the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Screw you.
Alright, back to Star Wars.
For my Chewbacca, I had Neil Fingleton. He plays a very big giant on Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. I got you.
I thought he'd be a good cast. And then for Lando, I had Donald Glover.
Donald Glover was just too.
I
He
want to
was.
replace
He,
Chewbacca
played
with
that
an
role
Ewok.
he arguably is the best part about Solo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I just want a Lando show with Donald Glover.
that's
Yeah.
what they're making.
He's
I thought they were
supposedly
doing it.
writing one with his brother.
Yeah.
I'd watch
Hmm.
that.
I would watch that.
I'm nervous about it, but I'll watch it.
I'll watch
As long as it's like Atlanta, it'll be good.
As
But
long as there's
also-
somebody
okay,
there that knows
so-
something about Star Wars to make sure that
Donald Glover's a
they're
big Star
following
Wars
things.
fan.
Okay,
Yeah, but
well-
you still need somebody to make sure. Like,
You
wait,
need someone to
like,
watch, hold your hand.
Yeah.
We've learned
because
that.
JJ said he was a Star Wars fan, and look how that turned out.
Okay, so
Star Trek?
next question. How heavily would the studio rely on CGI coming off of 1, 2, and 3? Or do you think that Lucas would stick to more practical?
I think it depends on the director.
I think it's all CGI.
I agree with Christian. I think
Yeah.
it's all CGI. I mean, if he made the prequels and that was 100% in Lucas's court,
CGI though.
I disagree.
No, I think because it's still Lucas at this point. It's not Disney who would just put in like run of the mill Marvel CGI for this.
I feel like,
this would actually be still Lucas with
Like pushing
industrial light and
boundaries.
magic because that's
Yes.
what Lucas is. That was
Yes.
also part of the original idea of Star Wars, like behind the scenes, was that we're also pushing technical boundaries at the same
He
time.
changed
Even though the
filmmaking.
prequels look weird and like it maybe was a little bit too early to try some of the things he's trying.
But honestly,
he's
the
trying
prequels
those
were
things for how they're
milestones.
pushing
Yeah.
their things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
those
with
movies were
CGI, full
milestones
CG
in
characters,
CGI.
like Jar Jar is a milestone, even though like the character is like annoying to a lot of the fan base. But that character itself is a milestone. It's the
Yeah.
first like computer
I
animated,
think
like
that
animated
the-
walking around character.
I personally think
Like-
that the CGI, if Lucas was in charge of the films, would look a lot like the CGI in Force Awakens and Rogue One, which are the two, in my personal opinion, the CGI in Force Awakens and Rogue One are the best out of any Star Wars film
Yeah.
ever.
Sure.
I mean, the CGI in those films is absolutely phenomenal.
Rogue
you
One in
can
particular,
really tell.
I think,
Rogue
is-
One is hands down the greatest visual effects I've ever seen in a movie ever.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Ahsoka's gonna be fun because you're gonna see a lot of the same like visuals, like our Star Destroyers, hopefully, and stuff like that. Like, because I think there's a novelty of seeing like the old stuff from like the original trilogy, like in modern.
Like they did,
CG.
I think they did,
But not in the way they did it in 9, where there's just a copy paste of like 25,000 Star Destroyers.
See, I think they did enough of like in Force Awakens or Rogue One, in the two of those, because again they came out right back to back too. They did enough of practical and visual in that
Yeah,
that
I
it
agree.
works together and it's almost seamless. Whereas like you get into, but it also depends. It also, I guess, really depends on how it's shot. Same way as like Force Awakens was shot on film.
Yes.
And you can tell that everything is physically there in the room. There's a difference between digital and film, and a lot of people are like, "There's not a difference," but there is a
big
difference.
difference.
Huge difference.
And there's a lot of people who specifically work in camera departments who are like, "Yeah, you can't really tell," and but they're just speaking from experience. But the reality of it is, you can tell the difference between film and digital. And so, like, look at Episode 7 and look at Episode 8.
It's jarring.
They're vastly different in their visual
And if you're
style.
someone who's watched every Star Wars film, like the prequels and the originals, which are also on film, like repeatedly for like which a lot of Star Wars fans do, like, and then you suddenly like, why is this? You're just gonna have this subconscious like feeling like something is wrong, which is what I think a lot of Star Wars fans have when they watch 8 for the first time. You're like, what is
going on
Something
here?
is different about this. Like even
The
the way
first scene,
yeah.
the very first
They
scene,
shoot
like
the
them
cockpit.
flying in the in space, and when he pops up in the X-wing, and you're like, the X-wing looks completely
It's
fake,
wrong,
but
yeah.
he's real. But then you look at the X-wing in Force Awakens, and you see him flying around in that, and you're like, oh my god, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
So you can very clearly tell, and I guess a part of that depends on how it's shot.
Yeah.
I believe that George Lucas would probably shoot on film.
I mean, yeah, I think
wouldn't
so.
think so.
Max, what do you think?
George Lucas is influential enough, like Christopher Nolan, that they would shoot in something like that.
I definitely think there would be a great deal of CGI, but definitely I think he would, Lucas, he definitely would partake in, like, the special effects of, like, in the, like, the visual effects of, like, whenever he can, I feel like he would use his ability to make it, like, a visual effects, or, not, if he doesn't need to use CGI, I feel like he wouldn't.
Okay.
So, but,
It
like,
would be practical.
yeah, practical. But, like, for the shots of, like, I don't know, the Death Star blowing up or something like that, I feel like that would be more CGI'd and stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
I think, and I think the way that, like, a lot of stuff is being done now is, like, they would probably actually, like, I feel like George Lucas is the same way that J.J. Abrams was the first movie, which is that it has to be, like, a real, like, it's like a lot of the models and stuff in Force Awakens are real, that they've added effects to.
Yeah.
To alter them slightly, but you can still feel that it's actually there. I feel like Lucas would do the same thing.
I think this would look like Dune. I think it would look like Dune.
Dune's good looking
I
movie.
think that's what it would look like.
Dune is a really good looking film.
Like, because he would push the boundary of things, would have like that mix of like.
It is a good mix too, but Dune's also on a much larger scale than Star Wars.
Dune, weirdly enough, is like I don't even know how. Dune's like 146 million to make. I don't know how they made that movie.
Lot of
146
They
million.
did.
Comparison to like
they
something
did
like Secret Invasion, which is like
Force
200.
Awakens was
Like,
113.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
really?
Because they filmed all practical. They
Oh,
filmed
that
on
is true. They did
location.
a lot of practical stuff. In that.
Rich?
I'm telling you what, though, practical effects cost a lot more than
They do,
visual
yeah.
nowadays.
Okay, so a couple things. So first, I feel like parts of the movie would end up being much more epic feeling. I think we would get we'd get a really cool sequence. Think of the sequence where the 4 TIE fighters go after the Millennium Falcon. That sequence would be a lot more cool. Not
would.
that it was bad in 1977. It was amazing in 77. But imagine how much better they would make it, especially knowing what they can do with the Millennium Falcon in Force Awakens. So I think it'd be really, really, really cool. And I think it might even be
that scene in Force Awakens is amazing.
and it might even be still on Tatooine instead of in space, because they did it in space because that was how you had to do green screening back then. You couldn't do it with the sky. But now you got CGI, so I think them escaping from blasting out on Mos Eisley would be like in the desert. So it would be a lot like the battle in Force Awakens. So I've thought about this too much.
I know, I agree with you. That changes things.
And I think like the attack on the Death Star would be there'd be a heck of a lot more X-wing fighters. And there'd be more ships. It wouldn't just be X-wing fighters.
And
the scale would be bigger.
Be a trench run. It would be they would be bombing the whole.
Yeah,
thing,
there'd be a lot
and
of
the
stuff
trench run
going
is just
on.
be a
There'd be like
portion
a
of it.
distraction fleet, and then like a trench run bomb like going on.
There's that type of stuff I would be very interested. I think, I think we would lose a little bit of the fun because just the way. But I think I see like there's stuff that I don't think you can improve on. So I just love the stuff on the Death Star, and I just think it'd be really good. I think it'd be really good. I think we would see a little bit more.
I think all the lightsaber fights are undeniable.
And that was the last. Oh, thank you for that. I think that the lightsaber fight would be really, really, really cool because got to remember, we wouldn't have Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So this would be the rematch that we were all looking for from Episode 3. So the fight in Episode 4 would be friggin' crazy on the. It'd be like one of those fan ones you see on TV.
Fighting.
Like, you know those ones you see on TV now, like on YouTube and shit? They would look really cool.
Obi-Wan Vader, Luke Vader, and then like Luke Vader, like again.
Those would all be fucking
become
amazing.
Prequel era fights.
Yeah.
They would all be freaking amazing.
Jordan.
And you might even get, the other thing, last thing I want to throw in is I think, no, because he's dead. Darth Maul dead?
Technically. Well, Clone Wars.
Well, no, because Clone Wars was made.
Yes, he is because we
he
had
gets
Rebels.
killed in Rebels.
He dies in
in
Rebels.
Rebels.
So yeah, I'm just wondering if like we wouldn't get some characters. Like I think we'd be getting characters from Clone Wars that would be in these films. So Rex.
Well, so
like
that's
all
another,
those.
that's another question.
So we'll get into that next.
Okay.
Jordan.
Yeah.
So CGI wise, I think it depends if Lucas is directing or not. That's so because when you look at the prequels, he directed those. But when he did the originals way back when, he didn't direct
He directed
all
4.
of them.
He directed 4.
He didn't direct all of them.
No.
So, but when we're looking at them as a whole, I think the CGI and the practical effect use would depend on the director. And then you might get J.J. Abrams brought in under a supervisory role, or a Dave Filoni getting brought in into a live action. We don't know. But I think it depends on your director. I think that with Obi-Wan and the stuff that the CGI would affect is like those fights and stuff. Because you get so much more that you can do now with technology that we have. But the question that I have now is, would we have some of the technologies that we have if it wasn't for ILM back in the day?
Well, we're saying that.
But
George
we're saying
Lucas
that the
pushed-
prequels happened exactly the way they did. So every advancement since the prequels still
Yeah,
stays.
because the prequels is kind of a culmination of even some of the stuff from even the originals, if that makes sense. And so I think that tech does exist in this.
Yeah.
In this
thought
hypothetical universe, the
experiment,
tech that created the prequels and on still exists.
And then the 10
Well,
years
then,
after.
but then
We've
I just
already
say it all
decided that the
depends.
prequels are staying the same way.
Yes.
Then it all depends if Lucas is going to step back and direct, or just be a producer, or if he's going to direct or not.
See, I feel like George Lucas would do 4, but he wouldn't do 5 and 6. I think it would be the same way as like he did
Yeah,
1, 2,
I
and
agree
3.
with that, yeah.
He would reprise his directorial role. It's been 15 years. He'll reprise his role for 4. And then he would be like, okay, hands off 5 and 6. And he would give it to a J.J. Abrams or Rian Johnson or something like that. Or even oh my God, Christopher Nolan.
No, I think
Christopher
I
Nolan's
think
Star Wars movie?
You know what I think he'd probably get? You'd probably get Mangold.
Probably.
He'd get,
Oh, yeah,
he'd
James
get,
Mangold.
He'd get
Great.
one of them because they already
Or Zack
they already
Snyder.
know him. They have a relationship. Like Lucasfilms already has a relationship with him. He's done like these kinds of movies. Who directed Dune? It wouldn't be him because he's
Denis
already doing
Villeneuve.
Dune. But those types of actors that have been doing some of this epic
Would
stuff.
Spielberg direct?
Spielberg
Okay.
would not.
No, because
direct a Star
he's
Wars
not
movie.
because
No,
he didn't direct
he's
the
not
prequels,
direct.
so
It's
I
this
wouldn't
is he's not doing those kinds of movies at this point in his life. So
Yeah.
he wouldn't. If again, there was a lot of talk
He
with
did do
him.
Ready Player One.
Yeah, like
you wouldn't have
yeah,
thought
but that was
at that
also
point in
that's
his
a while
career,
back, and
but-
then
But
he's kind of done with that
yeah,
type of
and
movie.
with Spielberg, like his
2017 is
directorial,
right what we're talking about.
his. I love Steven Spielberg. I think he's a phenomenal director, but his stuff kind of goes up and down. Like,
Yeah, there's
like you
some-
look at
yeah.
Ready Player One, and that movie, like I love that movie because it's fun,
There's some charm to that movie.
but it's not like the greatest film ever. But
Yeah.
then you take Steven Spielberg, and he also did The Fabelmans,
Yeah.
and The Fabelmans is like mind-blowingly good. But I would love to see like. I think like George Lucas would really go for the underrated directors. So someone like Damien Chazelle, who did Babylon, First Man, and like La La Land.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like I totally see him going with somebody like that for a Star Wars movie. Versus they probably wouldn't go for John Watts or a Taika Waititi from any of the
Sam
Marvel
Mendes.
films.
I
They
could see a Sam Mendes.
They could do Sam Mendes, but like Sam Raimi would never do
No.
a Star Wars
it's too
film, or
stylish.
they would never go for like the Russo brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he would be very selective if he was writing and producing all of these. Like he would do 4, and then he'd be very, very, very selective.
Well, so Star
of
Wars
who
does
he
have its own visual style as well. So you also don't want to pick like he probably would
You know-
pick a director that has like too strong of the visual style that's their own.
Yeah,
you
it
wouldn't
needs-
want that seeping in.
And I think that's why he would go with someone who kind of has a very similar style. So like for example, like J.J. Abrams is like Lens Flare City, which I love, and I think that's great. But I think like his style, aside from the lens flare, suits enough of Star Wars. That's why Episode 7 is the best of,
Yeah, it's close
of the
enough.
Yeah.
sequels. And I think like, I mean, if I had my own preference, I
Of course.
probably would have done George Lucas at 4. J.J. Abrams would have done 5, and then Damien Chazelle would have done
I think that's
6.
what 8 puts. Another reason why 8 puts people off so much is because I think like it's
Ryan Johnson's
Johnson,
visual style is so
he
different.
pours too much of his own like style into, which at first off is too much hubris to have when you're dealing with Star Wars.
If you've ever
and then
seen-
it just puts you off after watching 8 episodes
Yeah.
of like this of one style, and then you get into this, and you're like, oh,
I think we need to.
Yeah, we gotta
make
move
one-
The
make-
last thing,
yeah,
the
make
last
one
thing I
more
want to
point.
say about this is like if you and with Ryan Johnson, I think another reason that like, Gareth Edwards does great in Rogue One. It fits
Yeah.
the same style, and it's like if you've seen Knives Out and Glass Onion,
yeah.
the cinematic
so good.
style
It's really
is
good.
identical to the same style as Episode 8. The
Yeah.
And that
movements
shouldn't
are the
That's
be a
why he
thing.
wouldn't be doing
the,
it.
the camera motions are the same.
that should
It's-
not
and
be the case.
It
Like-
shouldn't be like that. Like that works for those films.
No, yeah,
because
of course.
It's all about dramatic effect.
I like the
but it
Knives
doesn't
Out
work
films
for this
as much
kind
as I
of
don't
stuff.
like Episode 8.
Yeah.
like
He's a good
So-
one-off kind of director. He can't
But
do like
anyway,
sequels.
next question.
Okay, so what do you think would change character-wise if these stories were made after 1, 2, and 3?
more murderous.
Julian.
Ahsoka and Obi-Wan would be partners by now. Like, there's no way that Ahsoka wouldn't be an influential character.
And she'd be in the trilogy.
She would be in the trilogy, and she would be a main character, mentoring Luke as soon as Obi-Wan died.
I think they get paired off. I think Luke still gets Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka gets Leia.
Okay.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
That's different.
I like that a lot.
This is one each.
But I feel like I feel like
Well, okay,
Obi-Wan would still get killed.
So since this is kind
probably,
or maybe they would save his death until 5.
Let me do something real quick. Since
I think Ahsoka would be
since we're kind of
influential.
merging two questions together, I'm gonna put this one up in the air as well. How big a role do you think Clone Wars and Rebels characters would play?
Oh, major.
Big one.
Major.
So who do we think who do we think would come from those shows?
Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Rex would be leading. I think they'd already be leading the rebellion, and Princess Leia would not be in charge. Yeah. Like, if I'm being honest, Ahsoka would probably be the leader of the rebels, not Leia.
Okay.
And then she, I think, could rise to be, like, maybe they would kill Ahsoka at the end of 6, maybe, or something like that. And by the end, her arc becomes that she's, like, in charge. But I definitely think, like, Leia would not be in charge. It would definitely be Ahsoka and Rex.
While I was thinking about this, I had, like, an epiphany where, like, maybe Leia takes, like, Luke and Leia and trains them. And then by the end of episode 6, it's Luke and Leia versus Vader. And then Ahsoka fights Palpatine. Since she's in that kind of like Grandmaster, Yoda's still around and whatnot, but he's not willing to like take that step. And I think that if Ahsoka played a good part in
we're gonna get two fights. We're gonna get two fights in 6, like in 3.
Yeah,
that's really smart too.
And that's the thing. Obi-Wan would die in 5, and that's all 3 of their motivation for 6 is like revenge for Obi-Wan.
Well, I think also in like I think both Luke and Leia are Jedi, honestly.
Yes.
In the 2010's original trilogy, I think like it's just because I think honestly that's probably why the only reason why they're probably not in the original.
And they don't kiss.
Well, Game of Thrones is popular. Maybe they're doing a love triangle thing.
Yeah, but also, but now, like having episode 3, we know they're siblings.
Yeah.
Right.
So
they're not.
Like, and here's the other thing: like, a lot of stuff would change in the fact that, like, the fact that, like, we probably wouldn't get a Luke, I am your father moment.
Yeah.
Because we saw him at the end of episode 3.
You wouldn't
so
get that.
it wouldn't be a moment like that.
Luke, I guess.
I mean, it would be a reveal to Luke, but we already know it, so I feel
it
like
wouldn't be the one of the biggest moments in film history because we all know.
Exactly.
Sure.
I think that they would
build up like, oh
they
my
would.
gosh.
I wonder if they wouldn't come up with something else, maybe like Obi-Wan is secretly the father or something like that to throw everybody off.
No, but the movie's already made though. They can't change that.
But you know, I wonder if that's not a twist that they could throw in there because like
maybe it was the other line. Maybe Vader just lies to him and says Obi-Wan killed your father, like which is the thing which was said on set.
Yeah.
So I think you have Rex involved in this though.
Oh,
too.
for sure.
Oh yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like you're because you mentioned Ahsoka. I think Rex would be in 4. I think Rex dies in 4 rather than Obi-Wan.
Okay.
Causing Obi-Wan to go confront Vader in 5, where he dies, and then everything comes to a climax at the end there with a big fight. But I if we're going to stick to the original premise of the story, where Ahsoka's not involved and Rex isn't involved, I want to see Obi-Wan fight with Vader, like that YouTube video where they remaster it.
Scene 38.
It's so much better than just
but conceptually that type of fight.
Conceptually,
not that fight, but
I want more of
that
an
type
epic.
fight.
I also think Vader's suit's gonna be completely different because of technology. So it's gonna be more CGI
But we see
based.
it at the end.
What I'm saying is is gonna be more CGI based for movement purposes.
Obi-Wan
and stuff,
still
like
dies
Iron Man.
on the Death Star on
Okay.
4. I think Luke loses like in the same way as Arm in 5, but Ahsoka's around and has to die at the end of 5.
Yeah, you mentioned the Clone Wars thoughts though. I think instead of Yoda, Luke going to train with Yoda, he goes and Luke and Leia both go to Dagobah to train with Yoda and Ahsoka.
Yeah, that's what I was
together. And they're still on Dagobah, and they're still
I don't think so.
I don't think that Ahsoka would stay on Dagobah. I think she would definitely go out into the world with them.
Like,
I get what you're saying, but I think like there's going to be like a hidden Jedi
rebel leader
order kind of going on.
guardian of one of the kids. I think there's only two options.
If I'm going to be completely honest, if Ahsoka, Rex, and Obi-Wan are around, they would never go looking for Yoda. They just wouldn't do it.
So Yoda's not existent anymore?
No, he's existent, but Yoda is not an influential enough character in the prequels to mean as much as he does in the original series.
So then, does Yoda come back and fight Palpatine at the end then instead of Ahsoka?
I think the way
comes
that
and crashes the Death Star.
I really think I genuinely believe that, like, as cool as Yoda is in the prequels, like, I mean, he does all the flips and all the cool Jedi stuff, but the only reason Yoda is so impactful in the prequels is because of what we know of him from the originals.
The knowledge he gives out.
You know, but his character, if we're starting with the prequels, I mean, he's just a badass Jedi that fights Palpatine. He really is not that influential to anybody. So when he goes off into hiding and does his thing, like, I really think if Ahsoka was around, there's no way that they would ever go looking for Yoda. Like, I just don't think that he wouldn't be as impactful to Luke. It would be Ahsoka trains. I think, like, the way you said it, Ahsoka goes off with Leia, and they, you know, Luke trains with Obi-Wan, and then, like, that becomes the conflict. You know, I really don't think they go looking for Yoda.
But...
What's up?
Okay, so a couple things. So first of all, Obi-Wan still has to die at the end of 4 because we need to have the moment where Luke starts to use the Force to blow up the Death Star. You can't take that out. That's just too important.
And that would still work moderately.
So, and then the next movie, Obi-Wan still visits Luke and tells him that he has to go train to become a Jedi. So that could be a different person. That could be Ahsoka instead. Or maybe he communicates with Ahsoka and Ahsoka shows up and finds him on Hoth. Or maybe she's already involved. Maybe she's fighting.
Ahsoka doesn't come in until episode 5.
Might not be fighting around in episode 4. She might show up in the next movie and come back. Kind of like we're seeing in Rebels, in the Rebels Part 2 Ahsoka show. I think there's some elements that Filoni has brought of things that he built in Clone Wars and Rebels that him and Lucas are talking about that they're going to want to bring in. And here's the thing in episode 4 that breaks my heart because who's one of my favorite characters in Star Wars? Senator Bail Organa. And you know what we get in episode 4?
Nothing.
We get Bail Organa seeing him getting his ass. He sees his planet destroyed. We see a moment on Bail Organa's face when the Death Star destroys Alderaan. He looks up. He looks up and he's like, "Oh, what the?" And he just we almost the shot in Rogue One where we see the wave of energy come. We see that happen to Bail Organa.
Yeah, but unlike in episode 7 where it's multiple characters we've never seen before, we actually care.
Yeah.
Max, how would you bring some animated characters into the original trilogy?
I definitely, as you guys have said, like obviously Rex, Ahsoka, like I definitely think they'd be a part of it. I don't think they'd be a part of it as much as like I don't know. I feel like obviously like the prequels and everything like this, like leading up to them, but like they're definitely leading up, but like also it's like their story, like it's Luke's story kind of thing, like so. I think like as you all wrote them, like I think it wants to be Luke's story. I definitely think they'll be a part of it, but I think they'll be like a minor part.
Okay.
So like I think there'll like definitely be appearances and cameos, but I don't know. I don't think I'd say like I wouldn't say like Ahsoka's like killing Palpatine or something like that. But like I think
you'd want to minimalize the
like a Mon Mothma role.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I would say.
So I think most of the characters, like I think Rex doesn't end up having like a very significant role. Yeah. I think most of the Rebels characters that are because like Hayden and Ezra are gone still in this like scenario. But like if you have Sabine still, if you have like if you have Hera specifically, Hera just takes on like a more Mon Mothma role, and she gets cut to a few times.
No, she's
like,
the
during
beard.
Like
she's the beard guy. She's the guy with. She's the guy with the fake beard.
See, and the thing is,
yeah, she's in that scene. They cut to her during the also like. To the space battles even are going to be like really really good.
Yeah.
Like think of like episode 6's space battle is going to be like episode 3's.
Yeah.
Like
so
like
sure.
the ending battle is that.
I also I disagree with you, Max, in the fact that like I think what you're proposing is that they kind of would sideline those characters almost the same way they did with Han, Leia, and Luke in the sequels, and if George Lucas was in charge
That's
of all
true.
of this, I really don't think he would do that. Like, I could see him. The big reveal in Episode 5 would be that Ahsoka's still alive.
I think Ahsoka would be
Like-
very much incorporated in.
Like, I think
Basically.
Ahsoka would play a major part.
think it
like,
may
I
be
think, I
just
think,
her,
like, I
though.
agree. Like, I think maybe even like the
Bring
way
Turgle
Rich
in,
said
yeah.
that like
Turgle.
Obi-Wan dies at the end of 4. And then, like, you have the reveal, like you had in 7, which, by the way, was, like, the best moment of the entirety of Episode 7, was when Rey finds Luke. I wonder if it wouldn't be, like, a Luke finds Ahsoka. Kind
And
of, like, not
And
in
then
a, like,
Ahsoka like throws her lightsaber away and she's
no,
like, I'm
no,
done with
not
everything.
like
I'm
that.
out.
No, not like that. But I wonder if there wouldn't be a moment where Luke and Leia together, you know, Obi-Wan tells him the story of Ahsoka and all this sort of stuff, and then if they don't go looking for her, and then maybe they don't find her at the end of 4, but she comes back in the 5th movie, and it's a big reveal there.
I think Ahsoka does have to be gone by 6, though, does she not? Because for the Luke reveal, because Luke still has to like bring back his father, kind of by himself.
Well, I think that's
right?
what we were talking
But I
about with
think-
two
but
different
I
battles.
also don't.
You can't lose that. You can't lose that aspect.
So I think like,
See, but I think.
I think Ahsoka.
I think almost-
bring into, like,
I think
and
here's the
everything
thing that I think he and I are on the same page on is that Darth Vader would turn at the end of Episode 5 because
Ooh.
Ahsoka's there.
see, I don't.
I think that the final movie would be all of them together going for
Vader
This goes,
versus
either
into,
that
Palpatine.
or
this
he
goes into a
dies.
bigger argument that a lot of Star Wars fans have that like whether or not Ahsoka by herself
Jordan
like,
has a point.
has
so
enough to
once you're done.
has enough like by herself to turn Vader, which I think is no.
I don't think she does either. I think
I
it's
think
got to
this
be his.
question
It's
in the
got to be his
last
kid.
episode, and I think that's kind of where I was going with this in the last episode. Is we were taught, you guys talked about. I was not there.
Oh yeah,
I was in the back to
Yeah, in
tank,
the back of thing.
floating around.
just kind of just chilling.
One of these
Um,
guys was taking care of him.
Medical droids.
Okay, Jordan, finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
That Ahsoka doesn't. Ahsoka is part of Anakin's biggest failures. So I don't think she could turn him. So I think it is on Luke, but I think it would be a Luke and Leia turning him, not just a Luke. Is that the parents, the kids bring the parent to the light, that kind of thing. And I think that the fans really wouldn't. I
mean,
guess
Ahsoka-
here's the thing:
yeah.
would the fan bullying and stuff like that happen in these films as
Of course
well?
it would.
So
probably.
do we get like a Kelly Marie Tran and stuff like that? Is the growth there where the fans were it's as popular? Would these movies even actually happen? Because with
They
the
would
prequels,
happen,
I think
for
they would
sure.
happen.
but
They
I
would
mean,
happen for
is
sure.
it like the Marvel movies where now we're getting to the point where we're in the second phase, and do they have as much of an impact?
I think that episode 1, 2, and 3 would have enough impact, at least on the kids.
I think
of
if we're
that
saying
time.
that those movies came out, they still have the same box office, which is still impressive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're not original trilogy big. Like the franchise is not in the same level of prominence as like it is like if the original trilogies come out and then the prequels. But it's
It's a huge fan
think
base
of how much
because
even
of
smaller
Clone Wars and
sci-fi
other
stuff
things,
that
too.
like barely has any movies like is been able to cultivate, like something
Yeah.
like Firefly or like weird ass like or like Battle
Stargate?
or like Stargate, weird shit like that. Like they have like kind of not like huge communities, but they have like kind of thriving little like sub communities that have existed like for years and years. So I don't see why like something that's like expansive as the prequels even by
I have two
itself
more
wouldn't be
things
able
I
to do
I
it.
wanted to mention.
And the Clone Wars exists too.
I think you have to have. I think the fight's different. I think you still have to have, even if other people are there for the fights on the second Death Star.
They're on Kashyyyk in 6, by the way.
Yeah, that was my other point. Is that let's do that one first. It's not the Ewok, the Forest Moon of Endor. It's the Chewbacca planet. So Chewbacca has a much better episode 6. He's not
Chief Tarful return.
Yeah, like so. There's a lot of cool things like that, and we'll find out that the stormtroopers fly now, and then on but then the other thing would definitely be is that you still have to have the moment, the redemption moment when Darth Vader kills the Emperor. You have to have that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's more of a sword fight instead of just throwing over a place with no railings. So maybe it's more of a fight. But either way, Darth has to save Luke.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
It's too important to this guy. Like it takes away, and I know enough. Like in this that the way George Lucas feels about. This is his movies.
That's right.
The
If he was doing
character
it, yeah.
is Luke Skywalker. It's his fucking last name. Luke it's still his story. So it's not going to be looking exactly the same, but there's certain elements that are in his mind that have always been in that 9 stories thing that he wrote that I know it's changed, but there are certain things in there. I think Luke ends up being a little bit more Star Killer, a little bit more. He's a little bit more wild,
less whiny, more edgy.
But Luke can't defeat the Emperor in a lightsaber battle. He's only been he's not far enough along. Darth or theoretically, if Ahsoka's in there, I think it could have had something. But at the end of the day, Darth has to be the one. Anakin has to be the one who saves his son.
Okay.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think in episode 5 or 6, I don't know. Like I think, like how Luke is mentored by, Yoda. I think since there's a connection, such a strong connection between Anakin and Ahsoka, I think that's where like Ahsoka plays a part. Is like this is this is the good side of Anakin. This is this is the person I've known for years. Like
so she kind of like mentors him on how to redeem him.
How to redeem him. How there's a good side. There's still a good side to Anakin. There's still a good side. So
it's kind of like a vice versa between so in episode 5, Yoda and Obi-Wan both tell Luke that they have to kill Obi-Wan and they have to kill Anakin. There's nothing good left in him. But then you'd have Ahsoka kind of in the other ear being like, no, we can still save him.
Yeah, I think if Ahsoka was in this, you still have, like you said, like Obi-Wan still has to die in 4 for a lot of significance to happen, and then I think Ahsoka should die in 5.
Okay.
I think Ahsoka should, and I think they should.
Maybe she saves Luke.
No, that's what I'm
in
saying.
The fight
I'm saying that like
City.
that she becomes like Yoda in Attack of the Clones. Like Ahsoka's Yoda. And rocks up to like save like when they're like defeated, and then Ahsoka has to rock up.
Okay.
And then basically holds Vader off for long enough. Maybe you can have like a Twilight of the Apprentice moment where she's able to get to him a little bit. Because I think of anyone, I think the only one in all of Star Wars canon that was able to get to Vader would have been Luke. Is the way they established that. Maybe in this scenario also Leia, just given the changes that might happen. Ahsoka is probably the closest to being able to do it, but I don't think she's quite. It's not quite enough. He's probably too close to the failures of like him, and she represents it too much, and he might not be able to disconnect that.
Okay, so unless anyone has anything else,
let's move on.
Okay, so
we're running out of time here. So
we're at 1:15.
Do we think that these movies being made after 1, 2, and 3 would improve or hurt the series more or less? We all kind of seemed positive on ours, but like overall, do you think?
I think if George Lucas was in charge, it would obviously help, because I think but it's difficult because back when the original movies were created, I mean, it was monumental to have something like that. Nowadays, I mean, with all the Marvel and all the DC films and all of the Star Wars that we do have and all of these other sci-fi things like the new Star Trek movies and all these things, it is so hard nowadays to please people because they all think, everybody in the world thinks they're experts on stuff. I mean, we're literally doing a podcast about Star Wars. You know what I mean? And like,
we're the leading experts.
I mean,
by no means are we experts.
I mean, by no means are we experts in filmmaking and writing and stuff like that. And everything now is like very opinionated. I also think that like a lot of real life things that weren't as popular back then would exist today. A lot of things like cancel culture and toxic fandoms and a lot of things like that would heavily influence the reception of those movies. Even if, for example, say none of this happened and and they did 4, 5, and 6 and it was identical to the way they were originally, and they came out and it was the exact same story and nothing changed about the story, people nowadays would still receive those films in a completely different light than they did when they came out.
Different time period.
So whether they were rewritten or not, and that it's the same, whatever, I think people have changed in a way that now, no matter what film comes out,
it's this natural consumerism.
There is a natural like cancel culture would definitely go after a lot of stuff by the fact that like all the characters, Princess Leia is very sexualized and things like that. Like that would be a huge deal. nowadays. Which, I mean, understandable, because that happens a lot, obviously, in the media. But, I think, like, a lot of things like that would impact it. I also think, like, things like, again, with the strikes that are happening, like, a lot of that would be impacted. And I just think the reception of the films would be, there would be more negative than there was when they came out originally. Obviously, there would be a lot more opinionated people that would have negative feelings on it.
That's kind of my thing, is that, we look at our core cast and it's all white people. Yeah. So
I had Donald Glover in there.
No, but that's not
for the main
for episode 4. If we're gonna look at A New Hope, Star Wars as a whole, in the original core, everybody's
except
white
for James Earl Jones' voice
and Chewbacca, who's in a white guy in a costume.
Yeah.
So when you look at it like that, cancel culture, yes. However, I think Star Wars would essentially become like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where we're just going to kind of constantly push things. But the story's going to be more like Harry Potter.
I mean, even
in the sense of,
but even when we were talking about our castings for this, though, like we mentioned, like Jenna Ortega. So I think, like, so like there was an idea that, like, even for ideas, like some of the potential ideas we had for people that would have been the character.
But even still,
like we didn't think about that race thing this time around.
Went after, but even example to piggyback off of that, like toxic fandom, or would go after the fact that Jenna Ortega's being cast in everything now. So if they were to cast Jenna Ortega as Princess Leia, there would still be people who, like, don't get me wrong, I think she would be phenomenal. She's an amazing actor who is getting a lot of shit because she's been in a lot of stuff recently.
Yeah.
Like, that is literally the reason people are hating on Jenna Ortega, is just because she has been in a lot of media. Like, and people will go after that, which blows my mind, because she's amazing. I mean, X is a phenomenal film. The Scream movies, I mean, I'm not big on the Scream movies, but she kills it in those films. Yeah. She was great in Wednesday. Yeah. She's and she was really good in The Babysitter, The Fallout, like all of these things. Like, she's so talented, but people will go after her because she's in a lot of stuff. The same way people are going after Tom Holland, because Tom Holland is being cast in everything now. Yeah. And it's not because they don't deserve it. They're both talented actors, but culture would be coming after them because, here we go again seeing Jenna Ortega in this movie. Or here we go again seeing Tom Holland.
Yeah, the bigger you get, the more haters.
You know what I mean? The movies would get more hate over simple things like that, and that just blows my mind.
Max, what would you think? Would it improve or hurt the fan base?
I think for the fan base's sake, it would definitely like the fan base would love it. Like, especially if it was directed and done right by George Lucas. Like, I think their fan base would love it. They definitely love to see the ending of Luke and stuff like that. But also, like, as Julian said, the people who are just out there just to criticize and just to, like, find every little detail and every little problem, there would definitely be, like, some backlash. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they did this, or I can't believe they did that, There's definitely, like...
People are a lot more opinionated and offended now by little things that, like,
people are offended by things in the prequels too.
Exactly.
I think more of what we're trying to say is just like the same thing that happened with the prequels, because like realistically, just because it was different time.
The prequels were not well received when they came out.
So I think just because it would be different still. Like, we would still be received weird and get similar levels of hate.
I feel the same way about these movies that I would about the prequels. Like, they were not well received when they came out. Everybody hated them, and now here we are, almost 20 years later, and everybody's like,
oh my god,
the prequels are amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're not the greatest films in Star Wars by any means.
And that is a rare thing. That is a rare thing to happen. In terms of like media.
No, I'm not saying they're not good. Don't get me wrong. I love them. I think, but they're not the best.
Well, 3 is the best of them.
Obviously. 3 is arguably the best one of them.
Rich, what about you?
I definitely think that they probably wouldn't be as big as they were.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing that I was thinking here about how much. And this is a weird tangent, so I'm just going to mention it. Think about the fact that Industrial Light and Magic doesn't exist in the 1980s, and how that screws like all the best moments in film in the 1980s, like all the stuff that they did, like in the importance of Industrial Light and Magic. So that's another thing that obviously I'm leaving that wasn't. They still exist to do all of this. I think the same way people complained. They complain about everything. So I think maybe the fan base was a little smaller, and maybe a little less hateful. Because I think like some of the things that you could hate about 4, 5, and 6, looking back at them, wouldn't happen. Like Han Solo would be a black actor, like without a doubt. They'd probably have, Princess Leia would probably be, a mixed race of something, so she could still be, Padme's daughter, but also she doesn't have to be some wasp. So and
I
like what
think
you know
Jenna
what I mean,
Ortega would be the best casting. For
so
that
that's my point, but ultimately I think that it's just interesting. I think that it would be a lot of fun. And I think that it would definitely be, again, because it was Lucas. And Lucas now has a bunch of fans that went into film who worked on the prequels, the original, the first 3 movies he did, that are now on the team with him. So he's working side by side with Filoni on set. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of really...
That's the Clone Wars by this point.
Yeah. Right. So they're buddies. And when these are done... When Lucas now being whatever age he is, 70-something.
Yeah, like he's a high-ranking lieutenant.
He's like, okay, Filoni, these are my 3 movies that I want you to make like in a few years to finish off the Skywalker saga, and don't sell to Disney and don't let Kathleen Kennedy have anything to do with it.
Kennedy's job.
Yeah. Yes.
He would be Kathleen Kennedy, and the movies would be exponentially better.
So Rich kind of like segued into the last question. If these movies were made like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What would that spell out for a 7, 8, 9 if they ever decided to do that?
They don't exist at this point, like in time, in this alternate universe.
This alternate timeline.
Like we haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
They're not getting made yet.
Yeah.
It's like 2030s.
Would it? How different would if Lucas never sold to Disney and like he gave Dave Filoni his like Kathleen Kennedy's job, like how like it has to be completely different from what we got, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I don't think 7, 8, and 9 would even exist.
Ever?
Period. Ever. Here, or if they did, it would be like this, just like Harry Potter. They would happen right after. I don't think that there would be such a gap. But
yeah, that's a good point.
I could agree with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't think they would exist because I don't think. Part of the reason that Star Wars is so successful is because the symbolism that's in these movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Here's
because back when Star Wars was made and it was released, the Empire was actually representative of the United States in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, without that conflict going on, now we're talking Iraqis and stuff like that because this is going on during the Iraq War and Afghanistan and post 9/11. So
worse.
you don't have planes flying into a trench because of 9/11. You don't have, because the sensitivity that's around these things. You're looking at 2 different worlds. So I don't think the impact would happen that we are expecting. And I don't think that 7, 8, and 9 would even need to happen. Because you could close the book, say you're done with it, and then you don't need Luke's Grand Jedi Master, Luke's Order or anything like that. You don't have Disney saying, we're going to milk a drained cow. We're going to take what we have, we're closing the book, we're ending it. At the end of 6.
Okay.
Yeah, like if Lucas remained in charge, there'd be a cap at some point.
That's,
as much as I'm happy that there is more Star Wars content, like realistically, in the
and
perfect world, there probably should just be like a finite amount.
And everything we have in Legends still exists.
Sorry.
Not really, does it?
But that's just not how filmmaking works. It's just not.
They're gonna make the movies.
They will. Not only will they. George Lucas will do 4, 5, and 6, and then he might be okay. I'm done. They will still make 7, 8, and 9 because it makes the money. It doesn't matter if George Lucas says, I'm done. When they Dave Filoni will come back and make 7, 8, 9.
But where Jordan's right is that if they were going to get made, they would be made a lot closer. There wouldn't be a huge gap.
Oh, yeah, no,
in
they
time.
would definitely, definitely wouldn't be a gap.
So 7 would be like Ben Solo as a kid.
Yeah.
Like becoming like fifth,
instead of
we would probably get Luke's wife. We would get
be more heir to the Empire.
It would be
timeline.
Definitely closer to Legends.
Oh yeah, you totally get a different timeline. I'm just saying, like, there's
so those movies would be completely different.
But there's no way that they. I mean, the way that the money flows in on these types of things is, I genuinely believe that even if George Lucas was like, I'm done after 6, like, Star Wars, I think, would ultimately unfortunately.
Amazon Prime would rock up and buy.
Amazon Prime
or HBO.
They
Netflix.
would, but
HBO
Star
Max.
Wars would essentially become an MCU situation.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, it's like,
Kinda
I
is.
know that that's not ideal, but like that's how the world works in cinema right now.
Kinda
Is
what it
that
is
like
It'd be too
what
value
it-
of a franchise to shelf.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes
Whatever makes money is what they're gonna do. And Star Wars, even some of the Star Wars content that's coming out now, even though it's fucking terrible, it still makes money.
Yep.
So
There's
they're
still people
gonna keep making it. It's not like even if George Lucas was like, okay, I'm done and I'm not selling the rights to anybody. You kidding me? There is no way that there is not a single rich person in the world who's gonna go to George Lucas and offer him $3 billion
Just
and
buy
or
it
when he
out.
dies, his
Yeah, that's what I'm
estate.
saying. Yeah, they
his
buy it out
estate
of his
will
estate
100%
once he
sell
died.
it.
Yeah.
You know.
So like it wouldn't happen right away, but maybe after George Lucas died, his estate would sell Star Wars in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Max,
well,
Or
you know,
he would will it to Dave Filoni. He would will it.
Max, how
But
about you?
they would still make more
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
It wouldn't just
No,
end. Star Wars is too valuable of a property to just stop after
Yeah.
6.
Max, do you,
Like, they just wouldn't
do you
do
have an opinion?
I definitely think they, even if George Lucas didn't want to make 7, 8, 9, I feel like, as Julian said, they would find a way. Somehow they'd make them. I definitely think they would be. If the right people got it, like the right people directed it, they'd make them really good. Obviously, like we know how bad the sequels are, but
Don't trigger Julian.
they're all right. They're all right.
No, stick,
No, they're not.
stick to your original opinion. You good? This is a safe space. This is a safe place.
Oh, there we go.
He's leaving or killing Max. One of the two. He's gonna throw him over the edge of the. You know.
So I think,
Julian's screaming and
No, you can hear it on that.
These great opinions.
So,
but
Okay, I'm good.
yes.
no,
bad.
no, I was just gonna say. So Max, I get it. I just don't think Star Wars would be as impactful.
It probably the universe wouldn't be as big.
No, definitely.
It wouldn't be.
I mean,
They would still make
what-
it.
As a kid who grew up during these eras, Rich, what do you think? Because you're there for
well,
the original release.
and I'm gonna say that's why like one of the greatest moments, biggest reveals in film, and I'm sure if we Googled it, Luke, I am your father is
It's the
up
biggest
there.
plot twist in cinema history.
Yeah, top
Aside
4
from,
or 5.
Aside from Psycho.
Yeah,
just
top
about.
4 or 5, like it's in there. It's different because there's so many things that would. I mean, there's so many things that are, different. Like in terms of what would have been the things that were the big things that came out in that time period. Like, here's a funny thing. Like, the only reason Star Trek ended up making movies is because Star Wars was big. Star Trek was supposed to go back to TV. So think about all those subtle changes of things that would be different. So, but it probably wouldn't be as big. It would probably be a little more niche, like, because Harry Potter's big, but it's not Star Wars big.
Yeah.
So
I
it'd
think it would
probably
be
be
a
on the
Sci-Fi
level.
Network kind of
It'd
thing.
be it would be on the level of Harry Potter, and they would want you to finish the thing, and then they something like that. But it wouldn't be like what it is now.
It'd be less of a juggernaut.
There probably wouldn't be a bunch of guys sitting on Military Road doing a podcast about it.
I was about to say
Oh,
we probably
exactly.
would not be here.
Yeah, no.
Well,
I
wait,
could
wait,
agree
wait.
with
I'm
that.
sure some
You guys wouldn't be here. I think I still would be.
Jordan would be here alone talking to the walls.
Well, it's because Jordan thinks that Episode 2 is the best Star Wars movie. So.
All right, he's gone. We're
Goodbye.
good.
All right, we lost another one.
All right. No, but anyway,
Yeah,
it's just
I think we're
round us out.
I think that wraps us up.
Question of the day.
Yeah, Julian, go ahead.
I hope everybody now sees that we have the digitized version of our tier list. By the way,
We do.
yep.
Okay,
Do we have to
so-
make a change to that? By the way.
We do, but really quickly, let's do our question of the day, and then we'll do our 2 characters because we'll have some time. So, question of the day: if the sequels, or if the original trilogy was made after the prequels, I want to know in the comments who your fan casts would be for the original 3 characters, Luke, Han, and Leia. And also if there's anything story-wise that you would want to change from the originals, now knowing the prequels as we have them, what would you change about it? So let us know in the comments what you think. But that's question of the day. We have
we're gonna
2 characters that we want to add to our rank board today. And also, oh my gosh, sorry. You guys voted on TikTok that Darth Maul shockingly, Darth Maul.
this shocked all of
Not
us.
shockingly.
Yes.
Darth Maul is being put on the same level as Obi-Wan Kenobi on the S tier. So we have to
move over.
Yeah.
move him there. Yeah.
I
The
agree.
fans voted, and they think that Darth Maul is
Move Leia, Luke,
Obi-Wan
and Vader
level.
down.
Leia, Luke, and Vader need to move
To
down.
be fair, Vader should be also with them, but
That shocks
It
me.
really does shock
It
me.
blows my mind that people put Darth Maul that high on
Maul
the
is
list.
fucking goated.
He's a great character. I just didn't think that he was going to be
I
this
don't
high.
think he's better than
I
Anakin,
still-
Luke, or Leia. Like, it's just
Personally-
not.
Nah, I think he's better than Luke.
Max,
Yeah, Max.
where do you think he stands?
Yeah, give your opinion.
I'll be honest. I think he's up there. He's not as high as Luke and Leia. Like,
Okay. Thank you.
Like he's a good
bad.
character.
But we
The
did
people have
promise the fans
spoken.
that we would put him where they said, so we have now moved.
Was
Darth
that the
Maul.
only change we had to make, or
That
what?
and we somehow have to get Anakin's picture back up.
I
there.
that was just so I apologize for that. I mean, I was sitting on the couch watching my
Alright, I'm gonna
adventures with
hand out
Superman.
I
Great
found, I
show.
found one that's 2 characters in one.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's perfect. We're gonna hand it around. Which camera should I point it at?
Here, give it
That
to me.
one.
I have a close up.
Yeah, give it to.
Here, don't look at it.
Actually, give it to me because I have the.
Oh yeah, Rich
best
has the
camera.
closest close up.
Well, no, want me to hold up now?
Don't look at it.
Oh, well, I canceled this as anyway. Oh.
Who is it?
What?
You'll see. It's 2 characters. It's the best 2 characters in the franchise.
Oh,
Most
God.
important characters in the
Next
franchise.
to Agnapagna.
All right, so
Oh,
Oh, and
No!
Charred
That's
Owen
Uncle,
and
Uncle,
Beru.
no, that's just Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. That's just their characters. Like, I
it's
went-
not the shard version; it's just them in general.
no, it's just their
correct?
character.
Maybe-
That's just what they happened to be
Well,
their
they're
photo.
definitely. I mean, Obi-Wan totally helped them.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So
Are we
like,
including like prequels or like
all
Yeah,
of
Those
them.
everything.
They're-
This is
they're
everything.
entire characters. So
Okay.
from the prequels to Obi-Wan to the original series.
Okay.
Like,
Maybe B for burned.
B for burned.
I'm gonna
No,
go.
I wouldn't put them B tier. I think
No.
they're
They're not
behind
B.
Red.
Yeah.
I'd say D only in the sense of the limited
Here, let Max pick the next character.
time, I guess, because you get
Wait,
them in
you-
the prequels. Yes, you
Go,
get
go
them.
on through.
You get the introduction of them in the prequels, and you get the
Can you put the list up on screen so I can look
sequels,
at it?
or not the sequels, the originals.
Find one
but
you like.
Obi-Wan helps them where they would have been K tier because they really had no other than caretaker for Luke. I think they get bumped up to D.
See,
Yeah, I think they're D.
I don't think they're D.
I got a lot of
I
random.
They're
don't-
better than Jar Jar.
No, they are not.
Yeah.
They don't have any real significance in the franchise.
They're
yeah,
the
but
Blicky
their
and
fight
like an
scene-
Obi-Wan
Their fight scene
helps
was
them a
pretty cool.
lot.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
helps. I'm not gonna lie, that does help.
Their
It shows
Obi-Wan
they
Okay,
scene,
care.
especially
Alright.
Aunt Beru.
Okay, you know I forgot about Obi-Wan for a second.
If
But
it's
they're
just a New
like-
Ho- if it's just a New Hope, they suck.
They become
Like,
insanely
it's-
goaded in
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in
They take
Obi-Wan.
on Reva. Who's, yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe
They're as
maybe,
good as Bosk, right?
maybe yeah, that's
Yeah.
what
As
I'm
good
saying.
as Bosk?
I'd say
No.
I would put them in
No,
front
I think
of,
Bosk is better.
yeah,
than
Bosk
them.
is definitely better.
So put them behind Nanyup.
No, I mean, I guess I could
They
put
are
No,
him.
not
Nine Nub
higher
Nine
than
Nub is
Jar
better.
Jar.
They are.
Nine Nub is better.
I could put him behind Jar Jar.
Nine Nub helps blow up the Death Star.
They are not
right
but-
behind
Jar
Jar
Jar?
Jar. Right
I'd
behind.
I'd put them in line with Jabba.
Where's the Zilla Beast?
They're not better. The
Where's
Zilla Beast
the
is
Zilla
not better than Emperor and Uncle Owen. Stop it right now.
I think they got to go in that gap there.
Yeah,
What do
I
you mean?
think
The
so.
Zilla
In
Beast is
between,
sentient,
in
bro.
between
This is-
Jabba.
And who's the other guy? Who's the guy with the gun? Who's that?
I
That's
can't tell.
Commander Fox.
Close
That's
up.
Oh,
Commander.
Commander Fox. Are they better than Commander Fox?
No, Commander Fox.
Commander
is
Fox,
better.
we hate Commander
We
Fox.
hate
Okay,
him.
so they're
We
right
hate
below
Commander
Commander
Fox, but we
Fox.
still
We love
better
him. That's why we
character.
love him.
All right, Max. Who do you got?
So that's where that's gonna go.
You got Commander Cody.
Oh,
Commander
Commander
Cody.
Cody.
Why-
S tier.
No.
No. No.
Fuck Commander Cody.
He's overrated.
he's
No,
not.
he is not on Rex's level.
Dude,
no, no.
Jordan just tries
You
really
just like
hard
it
to be
'cause he's
different.
tactical, don't you?
No,
He's
all
like-
right. So here's
I put him with like 3PO.
I know that
No, he's
nothing I
better than
say
Cody.
is actually gonna
I
mean
would-
anything to you
we're-
guys. So by saying
No, he's
A,
good still.
by saying S tier, I know that I'll get him bumped down to
Oh,
A.
okay.
No.
No,
He might
he's
be B.
not
I
even
think he's
close
like-
to A tier.
I think he's like B tier with
I think he's
C3PO.
B.
Oh my god.
No, he's better than 3PO.
He's definitely better than 3PO.
Who
but
is
my,
that at the top of
I don't
B?
think
I
that he's
can't
better
I would
than
say-
Ravis.
I think
Raiders,
he's bottom A.
Raiders is like.
he's definitely. Well, Commander Cody, I definitely think he's better than.
Is he better than Finn?
Is he?
Yeah.
He's definitely
Yeah, he's
better.
than Finn.
I think he's better than Finn, but not nearly as cool as Grievous.
Okay.
Who's next to?
And
who's
he's not
next to
better
Finn?
than Gen
Grievous,
Zero.
it's
Or
Boba.
Boba. Grievous
Put him
and
between
Boba.
Grievous and Finn.
That's
Okay.
what I think. I think between Grievous and Finn is a
Alright.
good.
Oh, I would say as high as Ben Solo.
Where's Ben Solo?
Okay, Ben Solo's A tier. No,
Is
Commander
he?
Cody is not an A tier character.
Ben
You guys
Solo
are-
shouldn't be.
you guys are
to be
high.
fair, but-
You're high. I don't understand what your
All right,
fanboy
add this to a
fascination
poll.
with-
What's your fanboy fascination with Commander Cody?
Yeah.
All right.
He doesn't do
Doesn't
anything.
do anything.
All right,
And
everybody.
he tries to kill Obi-Wan.
All right, where's Lobot, guys? Where's
Lobot.
All right,
Where's
hold on.
Lobot go?
D That's your
tier.
poll.
No,
is-
no,
is
we're not
Cody.
polling Cody.
We're polling
No.
Cody.
No, we're not.
I want to.
belongs
I
on
actually
D
no.
tier.
Out of curiosity, I actually want to pull Cody.
We can
Cody.
poll him, but we're not.
All right, we'll
moving
put a
it.
poll up for.
Where's the Commander Cody picture?
So Commander Cody is in between Grievous and.
I think that's.
So yeah, Commander Cody in between Grievous
Just
and
to like make
and-
us
and
upset, the
Finn.
fans are gonna put him in S tier.
No, I think the fans will put him higher for some. I think but they will
Which-
disagree with
which
us three and
blows
probably
my
go with
mind, and I
Jordan.
don't
If I'm being
understand
honest.
Doesn't make
Why?
any, like he doesn't do anything. He
But
doesn't have
Lobot.
that.
Okay, let's
No,
go
he doesn't
with
even get an
Lobot.
arc really. Like in
Are we doing
Clone
what?
Wars.
Are we doing Lobot now, or what are we doing? I'm confused.
Yeah, well, you said he.
Do we want to do one more or?
Yeah,
we-
let's. I mean,
All
might
right,
as well.
hold, let's do one more.
Okay.
Christian already
Give
pulled
it-
him. Let's
give it
put
to me.
Lobot.
Lobot.
Because I don't know.
Okay, Lobot
D tier.
definitely
D tier.
C.
D tier in front of Ben Quadraneros.
Yes.
I'm saying C tier at the very end.
Pull up the list.
What does Lobot do that puts him in C
sorry,
tier?
hold on.
He helps Lando. Like
You're
lock
telling
down.
me that
That's-
Lobot is better than Shaggy?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he's probably better than Shaggy.
Yes.
Lobot is he's got like 2 shots in the whole
Everyone
movie.
remember- he's good in the comics.
He like,
But Shaggy actually like is
he
cool.
like wakes up and then
Shaggy
just,
dies immediately.
yeah, but he's
Shaggy-
like kind of cool. And he's like the Force, like the Force, Scoob, like Scoob the Force.
I do like that.
Max, where do you think that Lobot should?
Yeah, where's Lobot,
I
bro?
think use low C tier.
All right.
Yeah, I think low C is fine.
Thank you, Max.
Where?
With the Shark Jedi?
Yeah.
With the-
Well, he's not a Shark Jedi. He's just
Shark
a Shark
villain.
Separatist.
Oh,
What's
Shark
his name?
Separo, sorry. Right, yeah, whatever.
Rip.
Oh,
Rift,
Fish are
Rift
friends, not
Tamsin.
food.
Rift Tamsin.
Rift
That's
Tamsin.
American.
He's going
No.
over here?
We're,
C tier,
I don't
yeah.
think we have time for more.
Yeah,
we don't.
definitely
I think
don't.
that's where we call it. Damn.
Lobot can go
You
next
guys
to Rift
have
Tamsin.
the-
Lobot is A tier.
You just have a narrow mindset,
I
Julian.
love
No,
Lobot.
you have a narrow
You have a narrow mindset.
I think Lobot
You-
is
okay.
Lobot's a top 10 character, bro. What do you mean?
All right. Hey,
Origin
so
story.
Knows and
think-
loves
okay,
Lobot.
Anyway, thanks for watching, and thank you to BICP Radio and Moranto Media and Emerge Studios, and thank you all
whatever
for watching,
else.
and we're glad that you guys are engaging, and thank you very much, Max, for joining us.
Of course.
Next time
but-
you see us,
Yeah,
Next
talk
time-
about
oh,
that
yeah,
a little
next
bit.
time you see us, we will not be in our normal little setup here. We will have a brand new set and a brand new setup.
I see you have constructed a new set.
I'm
We are-
I'm afraid
we'll
that
be
the,
on
Much
the
like
Death,
your father.
we'll be on our Death Star.
Yeah, we'll be on our Death Star.
Yeah, we've been spending some pretty hard time working on a new set. It's going to be exciting, and you'll see us for the premiere of Season 2 of the 760th Attack Legion, where we will review Ahsoka episodes 1 and 2 in the brand new set. We're trying to get to 1,000 followers, so go ahead and like, share, follow, everything you can possibly do on TikTok. We're so close. So as soon as you guys can get us there, we'll be able to
We're
go
about-
live. We can share our opinions.
And
with you
Jordan gets a
live.
tattoo.
And Jordan will get his tattoo that you guys will decide. And,
That's at 2,000 followers.
On his forehead.
Whatever.
It's
a
a Lobot.
I'll
But
get a
anyway,
Lobot
yeah.
tattoo. No
Thank you all
problem.
so much for watching, and we're going on way too long and just rambling now. But we'll see all you guys in the premiere of Season 2 of the 760th Attack Legion, and we'll catch all you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.